Hello, I'm Choccibikki, and I thought I'd give this a crack. So, I've been seeing a lot of these pop up lately, these tier listings for all the popular series that you tend to love and enjoy growing up. I thought, why not give it a crack with something that I know that I love and that you guys know that I love? That's the Final Fantasy series. So, I've happened across a little program on the internet called Tier Maker, which you can just go to, I think it's tiermaker.com, and essentially what it is you basically like search for a specific category that you're interested in doing tier lists for, and it kind of generates this for you. So I thought, since we're near the end of the Blitz, and we have played actually all of these, which is nice, except for Revenant Wings, but that's a whole other thing altogether. I actually don't know if you can even see my mouse with this, which is kind of cool. So, I figured, let's give this a crack. So we'll start off with the first one, Final Fantasy 1, OG game. Nice little one to start off the whole series with. I am going to say that is A tier. Pretty standard game, has aged exceptionally well. It is extremely replayable, especially if you're looking at like all the different consoles and what each version brought to the equation. If you take that into consideration, then FF1 is not only just the one that started it all, but it's still the most playable of the lot. It's a very bare-bones story, hence not being S-Class, but I think it has aged pretty well, and it's still very playable for nearly everyone today, which is great. Now we're going to get on to the black sheep of the family, FF2. 2, I'm going to say, is D tier. Now there's a couple of reasons for that. It is a great follow-up to that first game, not gonna lie. Where it kind of falls short is the fact that it is just so inaccessible to the layman that most people who played it gave up after the first hour. I know I did the first time I played it. I got through the entire Finn section and I'm just like, I'm done. It wasn't until I played the GBA version of the game, because I originally played it on PS1. It wasn't until I played the GBA one that I kind of saw the value of this game. Like, it is exceptionally well built, but is it a good FF? No. Hence, the D tier. Moving on though, we have Final Fantasy 3. I'm going to put 3 in actually the same category as FF1. Now, the reason for this is, again, extremely replayable. I have now played it on the NES, the DS, PSP, PC, and my phone. And it is just something so basic to come back to. It takes everything that made 1 incredible. It takes everything that made 2 different and kind of melded in together to create this really cohesive product. Plus, Nobuo Uematsu absolutely killed it with the score for that. So, mad props to him on that. Now on to FF4. Now 4, that's an S-Class. 100% S-Class. It is something that I now own, I think, every version of the game that was released in the West. So, not including the WonderSwan version, because not available in Australia, obviously. The only other one I don't technically own, but I do courtesy of my mini SNES, which is 4 on the SNES, obviously. Extremely replayable. I love every version of this game. I love watching speedruns of it. I love the music. I love the story. It is just something so basic, and it works on every level. So, S tier for me. Oh boy, the first of the sequels. 4 After Years. Straight F. That game is straight fucking water. It is garbage. It is mind-bending that a game can go from being an S tier and then following it up with an F tier. And the reason for that is it has no substance. I have finished it despite what the Blitz saw, and I love that my capture failed while recording that. That makes me so freaking funny. Like, it makes me laugh like there's no tomorrow. It makes me so happy as well that even my devices know how garbage this game is. It tells essentially the same story of the first game, but drags it out and draws it out to a point where you're just like, what even is this? So, straight fucking water. 5 is next. 5 to me, it's like they tried to remake 1 and 3. But it's missing something. And for that, it's a C tier. It is average. Even the music doesn't really hold up. And why is my camera really blurry? Ooh, come on. Focus on me. No, it doesn't want to focus. Sorry for my blurry face. 4 is just... everything is by the numbers. I love that they brought back the job system. That is one of the best implementations of the entire series. So much so that they bring it back for the online games. Both of these. And also 13.2. And Zodiac Age. So, it is so fundamentally Final Fantasy. But it's so by the numbers. Like, you've got a hero who is infallible. You have the princess who is the innocent. You have the old dude who's going to die protecting the young people because they're the next generation. Then you've got his successor, the one who has all of his skills but no personality. And then you've got Faris. Faris is probably the best character in the entire game because she actually has character. She actually has personality. But the fact that she gets so little limelight pisses me off. Like, you get a couple of scenes with Sildred, you get a couple of scenes in the castle and on the ship. But other than that, it's like they've kind of gone back to the bare bones story that they had in 3 and 1. And it's so by the numbers. I can't get behind it. However, it did spawn 2 of the best pieces in all of Final Fantasy. Clash on the Big Bridge and the Decisive Battle. So, it has that going for it. Now, 6. 6 is S tier. Straight to my... Actually, it looks like they're battling too. Brr, I'm gonna kill you. 6's story is so epic. Like, the fact that they can put an opera in the middle of this and it feels so natural. Damn it, camera, focus on me. Alright. It feels so natural, and even like right down to the thematic elements of the music that plays during the final battle with Kefka. That alone is also like a stage play. You know, it is in tears, it has crescendos, it is just balls to the wall crazy. Plus Sephiroth is one of the, not Sephiroth, Kefka is the one that spawned like the successful villain, much like Sephiroth and Arden and Ultimecia. Kefka was the first one to do that. Like, X-Death was nothing. Zeromus, who the hell is he? Clan of Darkness, who the hell are they? The Emperor was kind of the only one that kind of got away with it, and same with Chaos, but I mean, 1 and 2 have no story, realistically. Except go to here, go to here, go to here, kill this, go here, go here, kill this. 6 took everything that came before and perfected it, and even to this day, the music that came from that is still heralded as some of the best pieces. It's Uematsu's favourite soundtrack from beginning to end, and I cannot fault him for that. Ooh, we have 7 next. 7... It's not S tier. I wouldn't even call it A tier. Like, I love what it did for the series. It brought it into the 3D age. But so much of it is just overhyped. Like, I'm so looking forward to 7 Remake. I'm not gonna lie that. 7 Remake is everything that I've been hoping for and dreaming for, and I'm pretty sure my audio's out of sync at the moment. It is. I can fix that up. The 7 Remake is something that I am very much looking forward to. I'm not going to lie about that. 7 itself, I have zero desire to 100% this game. I like it for what it is, but it's B tier. I don't care what you say in the comments about that. It's B tier. The story is so, I don't know. It's missing elements so much so that they had to build a compilation around it to kind of expand the story and explain other elements about it. Anytime you have to do that, it's bad, and I'm looking right at you, 15, because you do the exact same thing. I can't say that 7 is a complete product by itself, and for that, it suffers. Don't get me wrong, like, the music is incredible, the heroes are incredible, the world it creates is incredible, but it's just, so much of it is left to kind of interpretation, that even in the compilation, a lot of it is left to interpretation. Like, Kadaj. The fuck. So, B tier. Ooh, 8. 8A. I know, I'm putting 7 as B tier, 8 as A tier. 8 for me, it was my first foray into Final Fantasy. I have a lot of fun memories with it, and if you've seen my Blitz, you can tell that I love this game. Has it aged well? God, no. God, no. Will I love doing multiple runs of this game? Absolutely. And the reason for that is the same reason why it was critically panned in the first place, and that's the junction system. A system that is so customizable, so nerfable, that it makes every run unique. And I know that's not great when you're wanting to do something that's RNG based for speedrunning or for let's playing or anything like that, but just casually playing it. The story is really, really intense. Like, so much of it you don't actually get through the main story itself. You have to go off the beaten track to understand why certain things happen. If you didn't see one of the Laguna cutscene or storylines, then half of the shit with Adele makes no sense. And the fact that it's all in this complete package, though, is what's going for it. And I mean, like, even to this day, Squall is recognized at cons more so than, say, Civ from FF7. Or if I'm going to go like Cloud vs Squall, a lot of people would more lean towards Squall as a kind of the hero who they kind of understand and go towards because he's more human. Cloud, what even is Cloud? Like, 7 does not explain that well. So, A tier, 100%. FF9. part of me wants to put it A tier. Because 9 is a return to form. However, there are times when it is a slog. It just... The story drags out, and then there's difficulty spikes, and the way it plays, like the whole Chocobo side thing, pisses me off to no end. Like, I love raising up that Chocobo, don't get me wrong, but the fact that you have to play a mini game, go looking for treasure, just for the chance for him to level up in colour, so that you can get another lot of mini games to get extra treasure chests that you may get the chance to unlock. B tier. Oof, yeah, no, B tier on that one. Oh, we're up to 10. FF10. You are A. There's no argument. 10 is A. The fact that I poured 16 hours into a blitz of this game across like 5 videos, 2 live streams, or 1 live stream, it killed a computer. And the fact that I have played this now on every single console except for Switch and Xbox One speaks volumes. 10 is A class. End of discussion. 10.2 is B class. Now, I absolutely love 13.2. Well, not 13.2. And 13.2 is 4 point. 10.2, the reason why I hold it back to a B... Thank you for focusing. I hold it back to a B class is simply because it introduces very little to the world of Spira that 10 built up. And most of the shit it introduces is so shit, simply put. Like the whole... Like, there's some things that they could have really done amazingly well, that they just kind of... They fucked up. The Zanakin War with Pavel. There was some cool shit that they could have done with that, and all they did was, Vegnagun. Nah, not good enough. If you want to really bring this back, like, do 10.3, make it all about that war, and like what originally created Sin, like what pushed Zanakin to that point that they had to create Sin. What atrocities was Bavel doing? And Vegnagun is not good enough. Vegnagun is nothing. A dude that is, or a machine that's controlled by a piano. Nah, not good enough. Moving on to 11. I actually haven't played 11, so I'm going to be pretty neutral and put it right in the C tier. The fact that it is still very much supported, the fact that people are still playing it, does bode well. Also kind of funny that it looks like they're fighting the dragon right now with the logos. I'm going to keep it pretty much to a C tier. Like, it was one of the best selling MMOs of its day. Mad props. 12. A. I poured hundreds of hours into that game, doing everything from fighting Yzmat to getting the Zodiac Spear, forging the Tournesol, getting all the trophies, exploring the Great Crystal, unlocking Zodiac. All of that I would not have done if that game was shit. The only reason I don't rank it higher is because some poor choices in the story make it a little bit lackluster. Like the fact that the main character, Van, arguably the main character, the first primary main character, put it that way, he has no scenes with Vayne Solidor, save for one scene when they're being carted off to Nalbina, and just before the final battle. The character who has been built up to be this big bad, and yet has no dealings with our heroes, except for Ash. that pisses me off. Because it's like, there's no stakes here. It'd be like some random rebel going up and killing Vader. What's the point? You build up Luke Skywalker. And yet, some rebel, we'll call him Taz. Taz comes along, kills Vader. Some random, basically met him on the Tantive 4, and then comes along in Return of the Jedi, and he's the one that kills Vader and the Emperor, all in one fell swoop, and just kind of like, I'm the hero now. Nah. And for that same reason, Revenant Wings is going to be frowned upon. Now, Revenant Wings, I'm going to put that in the C tier as well. Its story didn't do much for me. Actually, no, I'm dropping that down to a D. The story did nothing really for me. The introduction of the Eagle was kind of cool. Turning the game into an RTS was a bit of an interesting move as well. Kind of fitting for the World of Ivalice, considering the tactics games. But at the end of the day, it's just, I don't know. I can't get behind it. I have finished the game once, and I have no desire to return to it. Even in a Blitz format, I have no desire to return to it. So, straight D on that one. 13. Ooh. That's a D. The premise of 13 was cool. The execution of 13 was not. There was so much that held it back from being an amazing game that they did fix, thankfully, in 13 too. And I'm not talking the linearity. That I have no qualms with the linearity whatsoever. My biggest concern with that was the execution of the story, the characters, and the locales. Pretty much the entire world building. You go into 13 and the story is a mess. It's like, it starts in medias res, and then they go back to points before the game, and then before that again, to kind of piece together what's happening now 13 days later. And it's all to explain, like, why Daj and Sarah are now Lassie, and why certain characters are where they are, why Vanille and Fang are no longer crystallized last time they went Ragnarok. It just, there was so much left out, and I know they explained a lot of that in the data banks and the data logs, but that's not a fun way to realize a story. Like, I praised 8 for the way it delivered its story. The fact that you had to go looking for these things. It wasn't just like, oh, here's a bit of story we couldn't be bothered explaining, or we couldn't find a way to fit it into the story, so here's a data bank. Nah, that's not cool. That is very uncool. And the music, like, I've said it many, many times, not a fan of Masashi Hamauzu. The tunes I do like from 13 are essentially the battle themes. And Sunleth, Waterscape. Those tunes are unique. All the others are so samey, and they just kind of meld together into this heartless, soulless, orchestral, electronica piece that I honestly have no desire to re-listen to at any point. 13-2. You are B tier. 13-2 is held back again by Square. The game itself, amazing. I love 13.2 in the same vein that I like 10.2. And I hold them back for different reasons. Obviously 10.2, as I mentioned, is held back by the fact that it really doesn't add anything to the new world. It's just kind of a continuation in a very by the numbers process. 13.2 is a little different in that regard, in that it does add so much to what 13.1 did and fixes a lot of the problems that 13.1 created. However, the fact that you need to retcon your ending from 13.1 for the sequels to exist, why? Like, you could have had it that Lightning, you know, instead of just on the day of the victory, like have it so like a year later she goes off an adventure or part of a mission and then just disappears and everyone just assumes she's dead. Instead of saying, oh no, sorry, the ending that you all saw in the pre-rendered cutscene with Leona Lewis singing My Hands over the top of it, that didn't happen because, one, we lost the rights to My Hands, and two, because we needed a sequel because this is a cash cow. Not cool. Introduction of Caius, cool. Getting rid of Snow, very cool. Adding Snow as DLC, not cool. Adding SARS as DLC, not cool. Adding Lightning as DLC, kinda cool. Means she's not really required. Downside, her DLC is actually the foundations for the next sequel and explains why this came about. There's so much give and take that it all falls apart. On the music front, Masashi stepped back a little bit and allowed his colleagues to kind of come to the fore, and they added their own elements, and it kind of brought the world to life. Mad respect. Ah, shit. Lightning fucking Returns. I feel like I need to create a new category that is just for this game. Also, I find it funny that I have no E-class right now. Lightning Returns. You're straight fucking water. You had so much promise following on from 13.2, and it just fell apart. Adding a timer to an RPG makes no sense. Making battles redundant in an RPG, yet forcing you to still do them anyway, stupid. Making Hope a child again after aging him so magnificently well, giving him like character in 13.2, then reverting him to essentially a blank slate and as a child. Dumb. The final dungeon was dumb. The implementation of all the dungeons was dumb. The quest giving thing was dumb. The only thing I liked about it was Lightning's outfit and the world they built. I have mad respect for that world because that was really, really cool. Basically, the shrinking world at the end of time, that is so cool. But everything else holds it back. Actually, I'm gonna move that up a little. For the world. Just for the world. It added something FF4 after use did not. Simple as that. 14. I love 14. That's a B. I have poured years into that game. In fact, I'm about to renew my subscription in 4 days' time for the 17th time now. And I love it. And I'm so looking forward to Shadowbringers. Like, everything about it looks amazing, and I know they're going to kill it. I am excited. 15. I'm in two minds about 15. On one hand, I want it to be up here with the S. But on the other hand, I think of all the DLC, and it comes back down to a C. But then I think of the quality of some of the DLC and it goes back up to an A. And then I think of the expanded universe and it drops back to B. It's a B. 15 is everything that they shouldn't do with Final Fantasy. But it's also everything they should do with Final Fantasy. It's definitely the game of the current age. It is open world, it is live action, essentially. It is balls to the wall crazy, it is real, it is fake, it is beautiful, it is ugly, it is everything. But for the love of God, Square, do not ever do an episodic structure with DLC like that ever again, for God's sake. What the hell is wrong with you? And then promising another season pass and then going, oh no, we're only going to do one episode because reasons. And then say, oh no, we're going to do one more, but it's going to be in a book format. No. Like, my first exposure to 15 happened 13 years ago now, when it was revealed as Versus 13. And when I saw that and saw that it was being made by Tetsuya Nomura, I was just like, this is peak. Kingdom Hearts 2 just come out, I've just destroyed that. Advent Children just come out, God of War 2 had just come out. And like all of these things were all put together to create Versus 13, and it was gorgeous. And I know that was just a concept trailer essentially, but it caught my eye. And then as the years went on with all the new trailers showing off Stella, showing off Ignis and Gladiolus and Prompto, Ravis, all of the characters that, you know, we would see in the Versus 13 trailers blew me away every single time. And they kept coming back to this fantasy based in reality. That was so cool. And then E3 2013 happened. Versus 13 died. Became 15. No longer under the reins of Tetsuya Nomura. Now under the reins of Hajime Tabata. And Tabata basically promised this game would come out soon. And by gum, he did it. He absolutely did it. The lead up to release was the best hype train Square could ever ride. And I think they're going to be doing the same with the 7 remake, because they did it pretty much the same with Kingdom Hearts 3. The trailers they put out, you've got the the Uncovered event, you had Brotherhood going on YouTube, you have Kingsglaive in the cinemas. Then the game comes out, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is not all. There's 4 more chapters to come, essentially. And then there's also the continued DLC that came about, or the free updates. It was just, there was so much to take in. But the fact that they remove shit for the DLC and remove shit to get the game out on time, stuff that definitely was a detriment to the game, like removing out everything in Niflheim, removing out all the stuff for all the DLC, episode Prompto, episode Gladiolus, episode Ignis, and the Comrades multiplayer update. All of that shit being taken out, and then like you see them release the Royal Edition a year and a half later, and it's got an expanded final chapter, with the final area being extended beyond belief in a way that is beautiful, but also the cost that like it retcons some of the shit that had come before. It was just, they didn't know what to do with it even after release. Like they were like, no, we didn't like how that came out, so we're going to change it. Chapter 13 verse 2. I had no issue with chapter 13. I thought that was such it wasn't necessarily a slog, it was a challenge. Like, this entire game, you had Noctis supported by his allies, supported by the fact that he could use his weapons however he liked, and now at the climax of the game, essentially, that's been stripped away from him. And you feel the desperation that comes about. Yes, it was a little bit boring to look at, but I mean, there's not so much you can do in the inside of an airship, Zegnor's Keep. There's not a lot you can do there. And I know with the Blitz and a lot of Let's Plays and speedruns, they go for the verse 2 option because it's quicker, it's easier. Plus, we've already experienced it ourselves, where we don't want to go through that isolation that Noctis goes through. We know to avoid that pitfall, but from a narrative standpoint, it was necessary, absolutely necessary. So, I cannot fault 15 for that, but I can fault Square Enix for what they did with it. And on that note, I think that pretty much concludes the tier listing. So, thank you so much to the creator of the tier listing here. Looks like Snurd. Who the hell's Snurd? Thank you so much to you. Thanks to Tiermaker for providing this website. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to make any comments about my tier, feel free. There's a lovely comment section down below. I'm expecting some thumbs up and thumbs down for anyone who does watch this and has some strong opinions on the matter. I'm basing this on my experience with the Final Fantasy. Yours will differ. I want to do this with a couple of the other series as well, like God of War and Zelda and Pokemon. I'd love to do them. So keep an eye out for them coming soon to a YouTube near you. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. See ya!